Hello, creatures, and welcome in. My name is Everetta, and this lively pile of bones next to me is my bestie, Maury. And, we're typically live streaming Hunt on Twitch, not making YouTube videos. But lately, I have found myself digging deep into the lore within the game. And the more I learn about it, the more I want to share and discuss it with all of you. And what better time to discuss it and speculate than now with the upcoming 1.13 update and Tide of Shadows event right around the corner. So far, Crytek has teased 4 separate trailers for the Tide of Shadows event, and although they haven't announced an official release date other than just this summer, it's apparent it could drop at any moment. Personally, I'm speculating the update could drop any day now, with the event following either on or after June 21st. My reasoning is that number 1, with the Devil's Moon event, we saw update 1.11 release on December 8th, and the actual Devil Moon Battle Pass release almost a week later on December 14th. Number 2 is the update 1.12. The test servers went live on March 8th, and then the update officially released on March 29th, which is a difference of 21 days. So with 1.13 hitting the test servers on June 1st, 21 days after that is June 22nd. I know I said June 21st before, but that brings me to my third point, which technically the first day of summer is June 21st. And I don't know if Crytek is actually concerned with it being technically the first day of summer before they release it. Given the time frame of the previous events, I feel like it holds some weight. Now, they don't seem to stick to a super predictable schedule, like always releasing new content on a Tuesday, for example, but I'd say any time between now, the 19th, and let's say the 24th is completely possible. Now that we have all of that worked out, let's talk about the teaser trailers themselves and what it could mean for the upcoming event. If you haven't seen the trailers I'm talking about, I'll have them linked in the description, and I highly suggest you go watch those first and then come back to this video because I'm going to be jumping all around and only showing snippets of them, so it might ruin it for you if you haven't seen them. Before I pull them up though, let me tell you what I'm hoping for. There are a few things shown and said in these videos that make me raise an eyebrow and my ears perk up. Things that make me wonder, could this be the return of Lynch? If you closely follow Hunt lore or have read through the weapon book, you may know where I'm going with this. But if you're sitting there wondering, who the heck is Lynch? Sit tight. I will give you a very quick, brief rundown. Eventually, I would love to do a full deep dive video on Lynch, but for now, I'll just condense the story down to what you need to know for this theory. Lynch is an OG amongst the hunters in the game. Although having the appearance of a human, she possesses the power and invulnerability of something not from this realm, and seemingly entered this world as mysteriously as she left it. She was discovered as a child, filthy and alone, by a group of villagers. They took her in and observed that she had white blonde hair, was covered in dirt, and didn't speak as she drew from her tarot deck. What they didn't know was that her cards had given her all the insight she needed to know about this village, and without questioning the cards, she put them away, picked up a machete, and proceeded to cut them all down. Lynch would become a deadly force in the bayou, working tirelessly to end the evil and corruption that plagued it, and without hesitation killing anyone or anything that stood in her way. Through rituals involving live human sacrifices, she created a serum for the hunters that made them stronger, kept them from instantly going mad when they entered the dead zone, and prevented the female hunters from suffering the horrifying fate of becoming a hive or giving birth to a meathead. It was an improved version of the serum the American Hunters Association was using. Lynch would eventually take Sheriff Hardin under her wing, showing him the ropes and how to perform the ritual for making the serum. They would work together to recruit and convert people into hunters and send them into the bayou to their inevitable deaths. At some point, they started working with the American Hunters Association, providing hunters and serum to them in exchange for various things they needed. And then to skip ahead to the end of her lore without hopefully giving too much away. Just in case you're wanting to read up on it yourself or wait for me to put out a video, Lynch ends up getting betrayed, which isn't surprising considered her ruthlessness, and she's sent back to where she came from, which isn't exactly clear where that is, but seems to be another realm that she enters through a rift that is then closed behind her so that she cannot return. So what about this lore gives me any idea that she could be returning? Let's take a look at the videos Crytek put out. The first one is the shortest out of the 4, and unlike the third and fourth video, it doesn't have a narration, aside from the whispering that I can't quite make out. It doesn't really show much, basically just some tier 1 hunters getting scared shitless in the water, and perhaps not all of them making it out alive. The second video also doesn't show a lot or have any narration, but what it does have is Sheriff Hardin. This could be a coincidence. The sheriff does seem to be a popular hunter to use in the videos Crytek puts out, but given his connection to Lynch, I thought this was noteworthy. Nothing else in the video really stands out to me. Obviously, we have the introduction of the rain and the first glimpse of the new Gator boss, but I don't really see or hear any other clues. The third video gives us a little bit more. This time there is a narration with a longer video and some gameplay footage. The woman speaking in the video tells us that a man went to another place, the land of the dead, and brought something back. And whatever he brought back, he used Raja, the new boss being introduced in the upcoming event, to do it. This takes me back to the second video and how Crytek specifically chose Sheriff Hardin to be the one at the water. In Lynch's lore, it talks about shared goals and interests between the sheriff and Lynch. They're both trying to stop the evil and plague corrupting the bayou, and they are both willing to do it by any means necessary, even if that means human sacrifices for the serum, or sending orphans into the dead zone to fight the horrors for them. Since Lynch got sent back to her realm before they could finish their goal, is it possible the sheriff, who Lynch taught how to perform certain rituals, is bringing her back to finish their work? And if that's true, how does Raja fit into that? How could he use this giant gator monster to bring her back? I think there's 3 possible answers. The first one being that we just don't know how yet, and we'll figure that out later. The second is that he simply didn't use Raja to bring Lynch back, but instead something else entirely. And the third, while a little crazy, is an interesting idea. I know some of you noticed in the third video, the woman speaking referred to Raja as she.
I'm standing before her open mouth and I bow.
In Lynch's lore, it says, she could not abandon her body as long as she was in this world. In that other place, she could wield so much power, yet here, she was bound and gagged by her own flesh. So if she needs to be contained within the flesh of our world in order to cross over, could Raja be the vessel to hold her in this realm? And are all the other hunters so willing to kill her for the bounty because of the countless enemies she made before she disappeared? I don't think this will be the case, but it's fun to throw it out there. I think Raja is something else that will tie in more to the last 2 questlines we completed, the Ward of the Reptilian and the Vengeance of the Skinned. But just because Lynch probably isn't coming back in the form of Raja, doesn't necessarily mean she's not coming back at all. Let's take a look at the 4th video Crytek put out. This one has a lot in it, but to me, most of it looks like sneak peeks at new things that they're adding to the game, not necessarily lore content, with the exception of the new legendary hunter skins that are showcased, of course, one of which in particular caught my eye. When I first saw this one, I thought she had some Lynch potential, but then I remembered how Lynch was described in the lore to have white blonde hair and likely much older than the woman shown in the video. But then I thought, what if she has a new human body as a vessel to contain herself in this realm? Given the theme of this event, if she was brought back during this time and in a new body, this could be a fitting form for her. But even with all of that, I don't think this is super likely. I think that's a pretty big stretch. I think the characters we see in the 4th video will have their own unique lore. So let's take a look at one more aspect of that video. It seems to reference forging new packs and betraying old friends. Everything leading up to this point in Hunt lore has been very pack and faction based. So what if Lynch is coming back, but as a role similar to that of Mr. Cherry? Not a playable hunter, but a prominent figure in the current storyline. Maybe instead of doing the bidding of Cherry or giving a dark tribute to the spittoon, we'll have packs to choose from to give our offerings in exchange for the tribute rewards. Or perhaps maybe it will just be an updated version of packs from the Devil's Moon event, where we pledged different factions at wagons within the game matches. For example, take a look at this section of the video where you can see traits on this boat, but they seem to be red, maybe covered in blood. Okay, so now that I have told you all of that and got everyone hyped up for lunch, let me ruin it all. Because I wrote all of this speculation down a few days ago, and today while I was getting ready to record this, I had a sudden realization of what could actually be happening. And it has nothing to do with Lynch. So I had to modify this a little bit. A couple weeks back, Crytek put out a video with David Fifield discussing the new changes to the Blood Bond economy. Fifield himself mentioned some of the more eagle-eyed players would catch certain things briefly shown throughout the video. And boy was he not wrong. So many people have posted breakdowns of all the things spotted. And maybe I'll put together a video compiling everything, but there are a couple of things pointed out that, while thinking about it today, gave me a huge realization. Maybe this was obvious to everyone else and I'm just oblivious, but whatever. Here's a screenshot of the part of the economy video when they're talking about the new cost of the battle passes. Under battle pass, it says, "On dark tides come prizes cloaked in shadow. New legendary hunters vie for the cursed cargo of the Delphine and the hide of Rotjaw." Also note this new legendary hunter that you can kind of see off to the right. It kind of looks like it could be someone in a naval uniform, but I'll admit I did a quick Google search of the 19th century military uniforms, and while there are some similarities, I didn't see any super close matches, so it could go either way. But the main thing I'm taking note of here is the Delphine, which is obviously a ship of some sort. Now, remember in the 4th teaser trailer we looked at, we saw those red traits? Take a closer look and notice the different looking crates in the scene as well. These look very different from the normal ammo boxes. It would seem those odd-looking traits and boxes are some sort of treasures from the Delphine that we'll be after during the event. Previously, Crytek said that they had success with testing the temporary traits we saw during the Devil's Moon event, so I think it's highly likely they'll be doing some more testing of things in upcoming events. So what if these traits are like the packed traits we saw in the Devil's Moon event, but this time, in addition to giving us beneficial perks, they also come with negative effects, hence the red appearance. And tying it directly to the words, "the cursed cargo of the Delphine." I don't know what the crates could be, but you get the idea. But all of that is to point out the wording of the 3rd teaser trailer, with the narration stating, "A man went to the land of the dead and brought something back, and whatever he brought back, he used Rotjaw to do it." What could he possibly need a giant monstrous gator to help him bring back? Probably something large, like a ship? Notice how she says something and not someone. And when she says, "I now know what has fouled this reign. I'm standing before her open mouth and I bow." Maybe she isn't referring to the gator, but traditionally, ships are always referred to as she, her. She could also just be referring to the gator. And surely bringing back a cursed ship would curse the area it was in, possibly causing all of the rain that we're about to see. Which makes me wonder, will we actually see the ship that's being discussed? Or just the effects bringing it back has caused? Who knows? Maybe I'm looking way too far into these videos. Maybe I need to go outside for a little while, touch some grass. I don't know. I'm just too excited for the update in the event. So anyway, that's all of my wild speculation based on some pretty weak evidence from the videos Crytek put out. I think it's incredibly likely that the event will have absolutely nothing to do with Lynch. But she's such a cool character in the lore that kind of just vanished and we never heard from again, and I'd really love to see her come back. But tell me what you guys think. What crazy theories and speculation do you have? And let me know if you'd like to see some lore deep dive videos in the future. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and if you'd like to check out my Twitch streams, there's a link in the description. And of course, see you in the bayou.